When you're looking at the crypto market today, what you're observing is the fact that XRP is the only asset in the top 10, top 15 range, which is in positive. We are already 60% up for the week, and even on this day, we are watching positive sensation. Why is that? We are getting relisted in a lot of different exchanges, and the volume, that actually means a lot, meaning it's not you, it's not me, it's not just the XRP fans. It's about those who are looking for an asset which has utility, those who are looking for an asset which is showing upside. That's important at this point, because when you look at the price action, you understand the fact that a micro level breakout has taken place. If you retest and bounce, that is going to create further upside. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. When you look back 3, 4, 5 months, you'll actually watch that we were getting these divergence. We had all these charts. So you knew that this was about to happen. And right now in the market, when you go, you're already hitting these levels. We went at the top. We are right now at this point. So here we are. And that also gives you an understanding that XRP is about to break higher against Bitcoin. Even if XRP is about to do 2 to 3% more from where we are now, it is about to start a rock hard movement to the upside. So that kind of shows you the narrative that something is happening in this open market. So the question becomes like, okay, what the hell is happening right now? So you zoom in and understand the fact that, okay, we are having micro breakouts at a time when the entire market is slow. But Bitcoin is trying to bounce from this short-term support zone. So if this bounce from this level, what's more important is that we are still holding on to all these fractals. This is really important to understand, because when you have a channel and you're moving inside this, now you're at the midpoint of it. You're not actually at the top, you're not actually at the bottom, you are somewhere close to the midpoint. So you have room to the downside, agreed. You have room to the upside as well. But what's more important is for us to keep this in mind, that we are at a resistance range. We are testing that resistance. So historically speaking, technically, we should say the resistance holds as long as it's not broken. So it's literally one of the easiest part to look forward to. But any short-term bounce from here to test 31,500, that means XRP gets more room to the upside. XRP get another push to the upside. The daily close just highlights the fact that we are still here, we are still bullish. That's actually fine, that's great. But what's even more important is to look at the weekly chart. Now, we have a few days to go inside this week. And the way we watch this right now is that, yeah, the price went up, there was some selling pressure, profit taking, all those happened. Right now you watched that the price came a little bit lower, but no one is selling and pushing it lower from that point. Instead, people are buying this asset close to 0.7. They don't care about lower price points. They believe that this asset can do higher price points. Great. Now, there's a weekly candle you haven't closed. So you actually go back into a monthly one where you still have another 12 days to go. But this literally shows you that all these fluctuations which happened since 2020 to April is now erased. So the downside, the consolidation, all those stories have been taken out of the market. That is important. Now, why is that so important? Because you are staying above a huge level, which is important. Why? Whenever you come there, you get to see that the market is starting to respond to this particular asset. And when you go above a certain level of resistance and support, historically, you have seen that, boom, you go higher. There is a massive movements happening in the market during that particular time. Now, it can be just one candle, then a slowdown, and then another candle popping. So this week is important for XRP. On the other side of the market, yes, we are watching Bitcoin trying hard to hold on to that 30K range, but it is really important for all of us to understand that trend does matter. When you look at XRP, you have a lot of different trends happening here. You have short-term micro movements happening here. That's important. If you extend that trend line, you'll see that's valid all the way up to this point. And then a medium-term pattern has been broken. We went to the upside. That is even more important. Now, if you try to connect it with the standard deviations, you'll end up somewhat like this, saying, okay, we broke higher, we retested, we bounced. That's again macro bullishness coming into the market. So any targets which actually shows you around 8 to 10x is great. The short term, you do have a target like this. If you look for the medium term, you'll get a pattern which was moving to the downside, where your targets look somewhat like this. And that means all of these targets are just starting. Just the first leg has been done, but these two big jumps are coming. Now, what do that 8 to 10x from this level mean? That's important for us to understand. See, if you are talking about that, we are saying $6.5 to $7 XRP is coming soon. That's the perspective. What does that really mean for your portfolio? That's important. Now, why should that really happen in a market like this at this point in time? When you look at the market, you understand that it's not just the on-chain data, it's the market attention. You're watching media, the mass media taking on that. And on the fundamental side, literally, Ripple is actually taking everything over. They're giving you the right perspective, showing you that a huge shift in finance is underway. More than 80% of the global finance leaders are looking forward to crypto. And in not next 30 years, next 3 years, which means they're already preparing. If they are going to execute this in 3 years' time, they're already building the infrastructure or piloting that right now. That's important. Now, as we talk about the media attention, this is huge. When you actually see the ruling is out, now the media attention part is here. They are talking about XRP. They're giving you the perspective of a 60% run at 2% for the day, which is right now 5% for the day. And this is all happening when the other side of the market is slow. Now you're going to watch XRP going up in the rankings. It's already doing that, but it's going to even kick the Ether down the drain for sure. Now, at that time is where you get even more media coverage and the price may even reach a bubble territory. That's where you start taking your profits. You should know your exits. And then guys like this always exist in the market. They're confused why a settlement would come if Ripple really won. And I'm like, this guy has some issues. Because think about this. Brad Garlinghouse has always informed us what they want is clarity for the asset XRP. Why? Because that's the biggest part of the ODL. If XRP is not there, on-demand liquidity is not there. Which means right now you have that clarity. What's that? XRP is not a security when it is on the exchanges, which means ODL is now open. That means what they highlight about the fact of US banks are about to join this race is huge. And it is true. And it's not only that, it's the central banks who are all jumping on the wagon right now. Because once you got the rule of the land, which is XRP is not a security, that means you're going to see massive adoption on this phase. And SEC is actually having a hard time for sure. They're being asked tough questions. And what happens when you get asked tough questions? Especially if you're asking to SEC guys, they will come out and say like, nah, we really don't care. I'm not going to answer that. And that becomes important. When they are being asked the tough questions and they come out and say, nah, we decline to share our view, that's like, it's not your personal opinion I'm asking. We are paying you as a government regulator, the taxpayers' money. And these guys are, they really don't want to share their view. So go home, buddy. Don't work for the government, right? Don't take the paycheck. Once you're doing that, what you have to do at this point is to give a clear perspective. What you're thinking, because it's not just your opinion, it's the rule-making process of a regulatory body. And that's why the court just came in. They had to step in because these guys were not doing their job correctly. And when you watch how things are evolving, when you watch how the entire corporate sector is looking at the crypto and how they are trying to take on the payment sector, that becomes even more bullish. Now, I'm not saying it's just XRP. I'm saying payment assets are taking over the world. Here is Stellar. We're excited to share a new news. It is new utility, another real world use case for Circle's USDC on Stellar. So you actually see all these guys working together for payments platform, payments infrastructure, which means the adoption is increasing. So what about this guy, right? The Ether. If this happens, that's going to be a massive break to the downside. A lot of people would get wiped out. At that time, the grown men weep kind of thought process will definitely come into play. And all those guys who were doing the FUD, they'll have a hard time. But right now, when Jim Cramer says this, I'm like, that doesn't actually look good. Because whenever this guy comes out and says something, you know what it means. So I don't have to explain on that side. But when that happens, and on the other end, if this is what you're facing, it really becomes super important for you to focus on the future. Because if you are not looking for the future and if you don't understand what the future looks like, it becomes really hard for you to digest what's coming. When the price action goes to $1 in XRP, $2 in XRP, you may feel like, okay, my average is 0.2, I'm 10x, let me jump out completely. You may get all this wrong. But what you have to understand is the crypto market is just $1 trillion now. They're talking about $25 trillion in 5 to 7 years. And that won't just happen at the 7th year or the 5th year. It happens on a gradual phase. So if we are looking for 7 years, that does mean this market cycle and the next market cycle. So at least you should reach $10 to $15 trillion this time and then drop towards $1 trillion or 2. That's when the next time when you do just a 10x, you are reaching that 20 trillion, 25 trillion mark. So you're not actually going to see a $3, 3 trillion, 5 trillion market cap and a drop back to 300 billion this time around. It's going to be an entirely different story because the institutional money is here. And when that's here, the primary question is, where are they allocating their money? Before, it was just the Bitcoin and Ether. Right now, even Ether is having a hard time on the regulatory clarity side because the SEC has always stated anything other than the Bitcoin is a security. And right now, the code comes out and says XRP is not a security. So what happens is that the institutions, the family office, the corporations, all these guys can now buy Bitcoin and XRP without having a doubt of whether they are buying a security, where they're entering into an illegal contract. This becomes super important for institutions. Now, it's not only the bullish news which I would like to share with you guys. I would actually like to take a look at what can go wrong. That's something which we have to keep in mind. See, if Bitcoin is breaking to the downside at this level, we know it's going to go towards 27. What does that actually mean for XRP? Because we right now have this level of support that's holding right now. But another retest of 0.7 and a bounce would be healthy because we'll get a double bottom signal there. But if we don't hold on to that level, then we look for the downside where you have a big support range, which would be close to 0.58, 0.53 level. But that only comes into picture when you break the level of 0.7, when you have a daily close below that level. Right now on the charts, whether it's a micro chart, whether it's a medium term chart, what the price action is showing you is that I really don't care about the downside. I'm trying to push higher as much as possible because on the other side of the aisle, the market looks really weak. The market looks really boring, but I'm trying to push higher. Look at this. It's $40 billion. Binance coin is now 37. So they were close inch by inch a couple of days back. Right now, XRP is leading. So if you take the stable coin out, XRP is the third biggest coin. And soon, it's going to be the second. You may have a doubt watching it's 40 and that one is 220. What are you really talking about? Wait a few months and see how things are going to change. When XRP explode, this is not going to be a concern there. Let me clarify. The chart which you're watching right now in front of you, that's XRP to Ether. So to get a great clarity here, just consider all these standard deviation is fine. You're looking and you're taking all those into account and you're saying, okay, Ether had that green light. It went all the way up, all those things. But what happened? It didn't go below this. And right now you're trying to break to the upside, and that one break to the upside has a big story. So that means even if XRP is just moving above a dollar in this market condition, that means we are starting a new trend against Ether. We are starting a new trend against Bitcoin. So that's what we have been talking about. The utility-led bull run. At that phase, no one is looking for Ether because you're talking about utility, not just some junk network, right? And that is something what we all have to look forward to, because as soon as you break higher, as soon as you get a daily close, what happens is a major run up. Imagine when you actually broke the previous low here, you had huge momentum to the downside. When you broke to the upside, you had the same to the upside, but you were following a trend line and getting rejected. Right now, things look different. Now, you broke higher, getting a retest and a bounce doesn't worry me. It should be a new trend which we are eyeing at. The accumulation and a break to the upside would be so bullish here. Because when you go back on the USD side of things, what you're watching is that the short-term breakout is holding. The money flow is happening. That means when the market is low and XRP is trying to push to the upside, people would jump into XRP, because whether you look at the short-term trend line or whether you look at the support resistance zone, you would actually agree on the fact that the daily went above that, you closed above that range, and it looked bullish. Now, yeah, you can obviously reduce the noise and then say, okay, we are trending to the upside. The direction is to the upside. Look at the moving average. So don't get this wrong at this time. When the price is going higher, give it a month or 2 or even 3 and see whether the price is hitting $5, $10. Wherever you want to take profit, do that. Now, when we say take profits, if you are really confused about what these levels mean, because when you're looking at the profits, you're looking at the USDT pair for sure, but you're also looking at the Bitcoin side of things. You're also looking at the Ether side of things to know whether we are getting a huge resistance, whether we are reaching a huge resistance. Because if not, you can still ride the wave and take those profits, because we are watching some of these huge actions happening in the market. And if you're interested in the entire market and knowing what all these assets are about to do, look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate that a lot. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.